Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have GM to pay almost $146 million for quote-unquote excess car emissions to the extortion, the government. This is brought to us thanks to the Washington Post, specifically is Maxine Jazla, who's a writer over there. They say, quote, General Motors to pay nearly $146 million for excess car emissions. The automaker will also return millions of credits that it received for complying with federal emission rules, Biden administration announced. Which was, got a picture of Chevrolet. I'll keep that on the screen so you got something to look at there. He's the weeds. So it says they'll pay a penalty of nearly $146 million and take other steps to resolve excessive emissions from nearly 6 million vehicles on the road. This from the EPA. They say, quote, the move marks a significant step towards ensuring compliance with President Biden's most consequential climate rule. Also known as probably the way he'll kneecap the auto industry even more to help EVs artificially. They say that it comes after the EPA investigation found that these vehicles were emitting more than 10% more than higher CO2s on average than the automaker's initial compliance reports explained. EPA Administrator Michael Regan said EPA vehicle standards depend on strong oversight in order to deliver public health benefits in the real world. Our investigation has achieved accountability and upholds an important program that's reducing air pollution and protecting communities across the country. Now, they say that GM spokesman Bill Groetz said in an email that the automaker is not admitting any wrongdoing, including citing any violation of the Clean Air Act and other relevant federal laws. He says, quote, we believe that this is the best course of action to swiftly resolve outstanding issues with the federal government regarding this matter. GM remains committed to reducing auto emissions and working toward achieving the administration's fleet electrification goals, unquote. Which, again, I keep telling people there's an ICE engine ban or there's a de facto ban, and this is how they do it. They have these fleet averages, so the only way you can conceivably hit a fleet average is by having it offset by EV sales. So there is a de facto ban on ICE engines, and one of the most hilarious ironies in history is the United Auto Workers getting Biden into office. Again, they vote, their funds go directly to him, basically. And he himself is making the most profitable things that they manufacture illegal, basically. And they're pushing products that they'll need less rudimentary labor to create, EVs, and will need less jobs overall, and will mean more tech jobs, which again are not good things for the UAW, which historically has been the labor to actually create the vehicles. Sometimes they usually mismatch the headlights or seats when it comes to the Ford assembly lines, but nevertheless, they say that the vehicles in question are model years 2012 to 2018, include the popular SUVs under GM's Chevrolet brand, including the Chevy Equinox with front-wheel drive, which, life's already I've driven a couple of those. Those are not very fun. They usually run sometimes. They say that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is a division of the Transportation Department, will impose a $145.8 million penalty. In addition, GM has agreed to retire millions of credits that it received for complying with federal rules, which, again, the shareholders should be irate. $145.8 million. But again, that money's going to go to the government, and they'll use it wisely. That's a joke. The government, whether it's led by people on the left or right, seems to never use our money wisely. Again, we're nearly $35 trillion in debt now. Now, they also say that the automaker would cancel 50 million metric tons of greenhouse gas credits from the EPA, the agency said in a news release, as well as roughly 30.6 million gas mileage credits, to the NHTSA. This is according to spokesman Lucia Sanchez. Dan Becker, director of the Center of Biological Diversity Safe Climate Transportation Campaign. People have way too many jobs. That's a division. Center for Biological Diversity Safe Climate Transportation Campaign. Also, F- for marketing. That's way too long of a name for anything. Granted, it's almost as ridiculous as a name like Topping. Oh wait, might partially digress. They announced underscores the importance of federal laws and oversight. Quote, this demonstrates why it's important to have laws rather than trust automakers who say they will make cleaner, more efficient vehicles. It also shows why EPA and NHTSA need to be constantly vigilant to protect the air of our atmosphere. Unquote. Yeah, although China builds more coal plants in a month than most countries do in decades, and emit more emissions than pretty much nearly every other country combined. It's getting there. Which, yeah. They're also making vehicles disposable. Thanks, EPA. Talk to any diesel mechanic, all the stuff that they add to those trucks, pretty much make them disposable. So instead of having a truck that'll last 30, 40, 50, 100 years, properly maintained, modern diesels are actually becoming unreliable. Which again, I would argue one of the best things you can do is just have one car and own it, until the wheels fall off. And yet, the technologies they want us to adopt, like EVs, have heavy acid, lithium-ion batteries, which are dangerous, combustible, and spoiler alert, they're basically disposable. Especially GM, they want the battery to be a structural component of the vehicle, meaning it really is disposable. You can't replace just the battery, which again, spoiler alert, will last 7 to 13 years if you're lucky. Which again, they're getting better in terms of battery technology, but it also makes it a disposable vehicle, which I would argue is not good for your pocketbook or for the environment. Now, they say it's obviously not as large as Dieselgate, which happened near with Volkswagen a couple years ago. And yeah, not great. Interestingly enough, there are some comments, and truth be told, life's a lot more interesting when you have those. So go ahead and there's no upvotes or downvotes, but nevertheless, here. One someday Rubber says Marble Mouth is running out of money. Better go after corporations, Joey. W4 says the real culprits are the idiots buying those oversized, ugly, obnoxious SUVs and trucks that GM makes. These people should be taken. Jeez, the heck. This person says they should be taken out behind a shed and horsewhipped. Jeez. Wow. And then someone responded saying the whining EV man, which, yeah, if you're up to GM, they would only make, well, if GM was smart, they're not. Again, GM has gone bankrupt 3 times since Billy Durant founded the company all those years ago by combining Buick and Oldsmobile. So the odds are they'll go bankrupt again. Not financial advice, of course. And yet, yeah, GM's profits, when you look at them, all of them come from trucks and crossover SUVs. The reason why so many automotive manufacturers are creating those. Going down, someone Dulce says peanuts for GM. Loyal Democrat says someone at Cummins engaged in fraud. The software was cleverly crafted and escaped notice for 7 years. Cummins had to pay nearly $2 billion in fines for fraud, but so far no news medium has named the people at Cummins who did this. Yeah, spoiler alert, Cummins used to make some of the most reliable diesel engines, bar none. Most famously, you see them in Dodge pickup trucks, and you see the big old logo there, pretty prominent to see. And yeah, because again, they're putting them out of business, and again, they used to be more reliable. Going down more and more. Free Speech says GM should be made to return every one of those cars, destroy them, and give owners brand new cars at no cost. The fine is worth a cup of coffee, which someone did respond by the name of Liquidy Marine says, are you on crack? Because yeah, GM, new cars are not that profitable on average. Though, again, SUVs, trucks, yes, they're better than average. But yeah, giving them brand new SUVs, that would be so significant. That'd be a kneecap to them. Let's see. Walter Bill says, in response, GM dealerships raised prices on all the cars on their lots to cover the $146 million fine. Which, again, General Motors, historically, most automotive manufacturers have an indirect sales model, meaning they do not own the dealerships. Those are usually owned by third parties, either businesses or mom and pops. So, yeah, that we have correlation with that, unless they're trying to insinuate that they're going to increase the cost of goods sold of future vehicles in order to make it more profitable, then passes increase the price to the dealers, which I'm not sure about that. Let's see. Tenor Network says, now the Chevron doctrine is out, GM can appeal with special justification, and the judge can overturn it. The EPA no longer has say in it, which we'll see about that. Yeah, the nice thing about the Chevron doctrine being struck down is there's going to be a lot less government bureaucracies growing like Jabba the Hutt in terms of mass and overregulation. But yeah, GM, again, a lot of people, no one wants to live in an overwhelmingly polluted environment. I think it's debatable how much of these laws really affect the United overall. So it's not good PR. It's not good news for General Motors. And again, they're taking a more prudent route in terms of business. They're going to settle or just pay a fine as opposed to try to fight it, because anytime you fight things, especially the government, you're going to take time, energy, resources, get your name dragged through the mud with increased news coverage. So I understand why GM is just going to pay the fine and move on. I understand that perspective why they do it, but still not good news. We're going to hurt their brand a little bit more, and also shareholders and people aren't going to be happy. It's, again, they're a multi-billion-dollar company, but still $146 million just gone. If I could snap, there we go. Took me a second there. Just basically evaporated, goes to the government. It'd be great if we could track those dollars to see how the government wastes in the future, but nevertheless, still less money for them to have in their pocket for research and development as they struggle to continue their transformation to be all in on EVs. So, gotta say that giant fine, General Motors, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.